Hello, welcome back. I'm Greg. This is Art of Cycling. Although for me, the Art of Cycling season is pretty much over. So I'm going back to a series. Whoops, sorry, I didn't realize I was shaking it so much. Going back to a series I've been working on, so reinterpreting paintings. So this morning, my wife was stretching at her shoulder, and it reminded me of this painting. This is Degas' Le Tube. So I have an exhibition coming up. It's probably the furthest out I've ever booked a show. It's not until March of 2026. And one of the things that I sent them some pieces, including the one to my left there. I've been working on a series, and you've seen some of them come to life, including that one. Utilizing existing paintings from art history that I've wanted reinterpreting, that's the word I'm looking for, sorry. That I've been and that all came about while I was working on a painting for an exhibition I did called 2020, and I noticed that one of the paintings was working on bears a strong resemblance to Andrew Wyeth's painting Christie's World. And so I've done it a couple times where I've repeated pieces, and I didn't realize what I was doing until I was well into the painting, and I went, wait a minute, this looks really familiar. What is this? And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's such and such. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to talk and conceive of this piece at the same point. And so this morning, my wife got up and was stretching on her shoulder. She's about to have shoulder surgery. And her pose struck me as really familiar. And then we got started with our day, ran some errands, and I was like, I know that painting. I know that pose. And then I got this in check, and sure enough, it was this particular painting, the Degas' Le Tube. Now, she is wearing her BJs. I do have paintings of her. Well, actually, I don't have them anymore. I've done several paintings of her over the years. I think all the nudes of her were tub paintings. And those have all sold. It's a little weird to think that, a painting of your wife is hanging in somebody's house. A nude painting of your wife is hanging in somebody's house. Now, the other funny thing about this image, the original, this is the arm that's down, that's the arm that's up, the bed is on this side, the side table's on that side. So, our reality is the reverse of that. So, that's the reality we're going with. So I was just wanting to let you sort of see this get started. I'm going to switch to time lapse and then come back and do some voiceover over that time lapse as as we start to work this painting out. But so anyway, that's the basic layout, and you may see that things change a bit. In fact, right off the bat, I'm not happy with this placement. I think I might shift her a little bit. So instead, over here, just touching the top of the painting and coming down from there. And this is where I'll use the yellow. So I've used the yellow oil stick initially to lay things out. So that would put her head here. No, actually, I want her head down more. That's her neck. That was the other thing I wasn't happy with. And then, so rough comes over to here. Thigh comes down. Arm. Starting to rough in here. Confusing, huh? Of course, I kind of love the whole trying to figure out where I am. Which of course makes it more difficult to talk to you while I'm working on it. Because I got to think about what I'm doing. So even those lines are all wrong, which is fine. All right, moving on. So this is just the first bit of the layout. I'll switch over and we'll do some time-lapse videos, kind of show you, and I'll come back and talk to you about it while I'm working on it. So yeah, so far so good. All right, folks, so now we move on with the piece, getting the figure laid out and trying to sort out what's going on. So I usually start again, working warm colors first and getting this yellow dress in. You'll notice that when I move the figure, I use the orange paint stick to sort of, so I build step by step moving forward. One of our traditions is I bring Bridget tea every morning, so I thought it would be a nice touch to put in the teacup. And of course, continuing laying in the bed. And this is where I suddenly went, wait a minute, we need to break that diagonal and sort of anchor the top of the painting. So you can see I've moved her arm. So of course that meant scratching out and then laying in more color. Now we get into a drying time factor because it gets tough to overlay. The colors, getting a little bit more of the bed detail. And I'm using this braided rug, which I've always loved, but then using that as a reference to the pail that the original painting is standing in. Thought I'd let you get a closer look at where the painting is. So we move across the top of the piece, and you can see just how muddy, muddled all of that is as I try to make the corrections. But going to do folds and close at this point. Not quite sure where I'm going with the bedclothes. I have a pretty good idea about her hair, and then working down in the arms. Now, as you can see, there's been multiple movements. That yellow line was the original leg, and you can see I've changed the direction of the foot, so her right left challenge, but her right foot is pointing straight down now rather than out, to the side like it was before. So now we move on to day 2, new clothes. And see now, because this is about a day or 2 later, I can lay the white over top and get a more opaque and pure light value for the edge of the sheets. I'm anticipating ahead where I'm going to have to do that multiple times. But this also, as I move forward, I'll be able to get into the legs, well, those two, and the arms. Of course, want to do the light striking the top of the sheets, but this white has gotten they've changed their formula, and the white isn't as opaque as it used to be. So I'm still learning. I mean, I've had 30-some years working with this media, and now it's suddenly started behaving differently. Rather frustrating. But, so I'm stepping out now and then switching back to time lapse, and you can see laying in the shadow part of the pillow, doing these sheets. And part of what I'm trying to do here is pull back some of the palette that's in the Degas piece. But I'm almost immediately frustrated with how dark that is. But now we're laying in her arm, and you can see now with the dry underneath that I can actually make that arm show up more. Looking at this now, I'm not real happy with the way that shoulder looks because it continues the line of the couch. And so then here I can see I've decided to make this a quilt, which is kind of a reference back to my own work. I have a number of paintings of Bridget in bed or children in bed with her under quilts that my grandmother made. So it's a real nice reference back to my own work. So you can see continuing to build the layers of the flesh, making corrections as I go, and sort of finding out where things go. Laying in some of this braid. I'm still trying to get the sphere of the perspective right. And you can see I sort of blocked out the diagonals of the wood. And that sort of gives this piece more movement. I really like these swirls the more I look at them. Getting the calf in. So this is the piece as it stands today. And of course I encourage you all to give the piece a look and continue to follow along as I continue to develop the piece. As always, you can find all of my artwork at my website, greigleach.com. And I do appreciate you watching. So hopefully, I'm trying to time myself out here. Which is funny because I have no idea when this stops. Oh, well, here I'm popping back in. And this is what happens. I had stopped. As you can see, I don't have my gloves on. I had stopped and was thinking about the piece and leaving a little more time for my summary. And went, wait a minute, let's get this teacup done. So trying to lay in some of the shadows, digging around on my paint sticks. And even this teacup is a reference. One of my first oil stick paintings was of 3 coffee cups in a row. And I know I've told the story where that's how Bridget started titling my paintings. She came up with done a painting of 5 coffee cups or 4 coffee cups. I was going to call it 4 coffee cups. And she went, no. That's intimate conversation. And then since then, Not only has she been a frequent model for paintings, or wittingly or unwittingly. This one was unwitting. She also is the titler of the paintings. I mean, obviously we agree on what they should be called, but I honestly think she gets the final say, not me. So as I look at this, as I look at the coffee cup, I'm okay, teacup. But I'm realizing the sheets are too dark and the quilt needs more work. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it.